Hi everyone, this is the dispatch for Wednesday, May 13. We begin with Psalm 102 for one more day today, and then we move back to Proverbs, right where we left off yesterday, Proverbs chapter 3. Here we get a good glimpse of what the worldview is in most ancient wisdom literature. Now, wisdom literature is a broad category. It extends beyond Scripture. It especially develops after the Old Testament, in the time between the Old and the New Testaments in the Greek-speaking world. So here you see that wisdom is referred to as she again. I've mentioned this before, but in the Greek tradition, the word for wisdom is Sophia, and Sophia becomes this personified, almost a deity, because that's how important wisdom becomes in the Greek philosophical tradition. So we see some of that here, but we also see in this worldview of ancient wisdom, the idea is that the wise prosper and the foolish suffer. The wise gain riches and accolades, and the foolish don't. The foolish fall into trouble and live a miserable life. Of course, we know that's not always or even usually true. And there are other parts of the Old Testament that are also qualified, that also qualifies wisdom literature, that call this worldview very much into question. Most notably, Job, which is toying with this notion that God gives blessing to the good and suffering to the evil. And also the book of Ecclesiastes, where Ecclesiastes is basically calling the bluff on this whole wisdom idea and saying that it's all meaningless, right? You can work hard and do good your whole life, and what do you get from all of your toil? So it's not a unanimous perspective in Scripture, this idea that the wise will gain riches and so forth. So it's a conversation among the different texts of the Old Testament, and then further on into that intertestamental time in the Greek world. And then we move into the New Testament again to John, this time chapter 8, and Jesus is talking to Jews. A couple memorable phrases in this one. The truth will set you free, and if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. Now, he's bringing this notion of freedom into conversation with Jews who have a history as the people of Israel with slavery, so it's maybe a sensitive issue for them. But Jesus is suggesting that there is a new kind of slavery, that is, namely, slavery to sin, and that new kind of slavery requires a new kind of freedom. And Jesus is the one who offers us that particular kind of freedom. That is all for today. Have a great day, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.